I just finished watching Dr. No, the very first James Bond movie, and it's fascinating to go back and see where one of cinema's most iconic franchises began. This is the Leverton Review, where I watch and review everything I can on my quest to becoming the most prolific reviewer of all time. Does Dr. No feel dated? Absolutely. But it's also easy to see why audiences fell in love with James Bond in the first place. Let's talk about it. This is the beginning of Bond, at least on the screen. Released in 1962, Dr. No introduced the world to Sean Connery as James Bond, the British secret agent who would become one of the most famous movie characters ever created. The pacing is definitely slower than modern action films. If you're expecting the non-stop spectacle of today's Bond movies, this one might surprise you. But Connery has so much charisma that he keeps the movie entertaining even in its quieter moments. And of course, this film gave us one of the most famous introductions in movie history. Bond is sitting at a casino. The camera is filming at the back of his head. When somebody asks his name, camera face of his head. Camera turns to face him in front. His response: Bond, James Bond. I massacred that, but you know it. You've seen it 1,000 times. It's an instantly iconic moment that has been copied and referenced for over 60 years. The film has a classic 1960s look. One thing that really stood out to me is how vibrant the movie is. The colors practically jump off the screen. Because it was shot in Technicolor, everything has that rich, saturated 1960s look that you don't see very often anymore. The film is also full of beautiful examples of mid-century modern architecture and interior design. If you're interested in design history, there are plenty of stylish sets filled with clean lines, elegant furniture, and minimalist spaces that still look impressive today. Even the nightclub scenes feel alive thanks to live musical performances woven into the story. Combined with Monty Norman's unforgettable James Bond theme, arranged by John Barry, the soundtrack gives the movie an energy that has become synonymous with the franchise. But what is the story of Dr. No? The plot is very much a product of the Cold War. Bond travels to Jamaica to investigate the disappearance of a British intelligence agent, eventually discovering the mysterious Dr. Julius No. Dr. No is a brilliant scientist working for the criminal organization Spectre, which stands for Special Executive for Counterintelligence, Terrorism, Revenge, and Extortion. His plan is to disrupt American rocket launches using a powerful radio beam fueled by nuclear technology. Watching it today, it's easy to see how much the Cold War influenced spy movies of the early 1960s. Nuclear weapons, global superpowers, and fears of technological sabotage were all very much a part of the public imagination. All right, but let's talk about the parts that haven't aged so well. At the same time, Dr. No definitely shows its age. One example is the film's portrayal of race. The character of Miss Taro, who is meant to be of Asian heritage, is played by actress Zena Marshall, who was not Asian. Casting non-Asian actors in Asian roles was unfortunately common in Hollywood at the time. Just look at Breakfast at Tiffany's. While the performance avoids some of the exaggerated stereotypes, look at Breakfast at Tiffany's, associated with the worst examples of yellowface, it still reflects casting practices that would rightly receive much more criticism today. The movie also features some outdated attitudes towards women, like Go Figure, a Bond movie from the 60s. Bond is constantly flirting, often treating romance almost like any other mission objective. His relationship with Miss Moneypenny is playful, but some of the dialogue, including his joke about her being government property, feels very much rooted in the gender attitudes of the early 1960s. There's also a practical issue with Bond's behavior. He repeatedly allows himself to become distracted by attractive women, even when it puts him in serious danger. At one point, his interest in a woman working for the enemy nearly gets him killed. For someone who's supposed to be Britain's greatest spy, that's not exactly ideal spycraft. But Sean Connery makes the whole thing work. Despite those issues, Sean Connery's performance is incredibly charming. He is confident without trying too hard, funny without becoming a comedian, and cool in a way that defined the character for decades. It's easy to understand why audiences immediately accepted him as James Bond. Even if some aspects of the character haven't aged particularly well, Connery's screen presence remains undeniable. All right, here are my final thoughts. Dr. No isn't my favorite movie. The pacing is slow compared to later entries, and some elements of its portrayal of race and gender clearly reflect the era in which it was made. But it's also historically important. It established many of the ingredients that would define the franchise for generations: the memorable villains, exotic locations, stylish production design, unforgettable music, cool cars, and of course, Sean Connery's legendary performance. It's one of those movies that's worth watching, not just because it's the first Bond film, but because you can see the blueprint for one of cinema's greatest franchises taking place. All right, here's my rating. I'd give Dr. No an 8 out of 10. It's undeniably dated in places, but it's also stylish, entertaining, historically significant, and anchored by an iconic performance from Sean Connery. If you've never seen Where James Bond Began, it's absolutely worth watching. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more classic movie reviews, and let me know in the comments who's your favorite James Bond. Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, or someone else. Probably not someone else, but let me know in the comments. Thanks. Bye.